there, everyone. I'm Sandy Anastasi, and I'm a psychic channel, an intuitive astrologer, and a soul coach. And I'm here with the psychic development tip number 30, which is all about being a good sender. Here goes. In my last psychic development tip for about a month back, I talked about being a good receiver. And I mentioned that we are all already good empathic and telepathic receivers and senders, but most of us just don't know it. To learn more about being a good receiver, look back over my tip number 29. In that tip, we talked about receiving, but in today's tip, I'm going to talk about being a good sender. Most of us are already good senders, but we don't realize it because we lack the control to send thoughts and emotions consciously. Some of you who are hearing this or reading it already know that you're a good sender, and some have even developed some conscious control over your sending ability. Good senders are often the leaders and the in-charge people in our world, so you already know who you are. For most of us, though, the problem with recognizing when you're being a good sender is that usually in those moments when you're sending well, you are so self-involved that you don't notice that the people around you are reacting to your thoughts and emotions. I used a good example in my last tip on receiving. The example was you are reacting to the anger of another person by becoming angry yourself. That's receptive empathy. That example was you're reacting to the anger of another person by becoming angry yourself, even if that person's anger was concealed or maybe came from a situation that had occurred earlier in the day for them. Let's take that example a little further. If you are that person, from my example, who's carrying latent anger from earlier in the day, but you're unaware that you're a good sender, you are now going to be wondering why everyone you speak to all day seems angry. That's because everyone you meet is reflecting your own anger. If, however, you recognize that you're a good sender and can easily project your feelings and thoughts on another, you will quickly realize what's happening and take a few moments to ground and center yourself. You can use your breath to do that. Just take a deep breath and consciously release those angry emotions and push them away before you meet with whoever the next person is that you're going to be involved with. Even people who are not naturally good senders are able to project feelings of anger, frustration, and other negative emotions on other people, often without realizing it. That's because as infants, we're already learning to bombard our adult caretaker with our wants and our needs because we cannot yet talk. When our needs aren't met, the emotions we experience are negative, so that's what gets projected. We usually call people who do this routinely passive-aggressive types. But the fact is, we're all guilty of it until we become aware. Then, when we do it, we take steps to control it. It behooves all of us to recognize when we're projecting our thoughts and emotions on others and learn to control that, as it does not make for peaceful or happy relationships. It's more difficult to send happy and positive and uplifting thoughts and emotions for the simple reason that we aren't necessarily wanting or needing someone to do something about them. But we do experience really wonderful things when we consciously send those happy, uplifting thoughts to others and happy, uplifting emotions as well. For example, in your own life, remember back to a time when you served a special dinner This is just an example, a special dinner for someone that you were in love with. While you were preparing it, you were thinking of them with loving thoughts. You were feeling how much you care about them. And so when the dinner was served, everything turned out well. The conversation was mutually loving and supportive, and the experience drew you both closer. That's a good example of what happens when you're projecting positive thoughts and emotions at another person, especially if it's an action-oriented thing, because that's when these thoughts can be sent and projected most readily, like making a dinner. One of the things that I teach early on in my psychic development classes is how to send your thoughts and emotions consciously. Conscious control is so important. And I'm going to talk about that in my next tip. So stay tuned for that tip next time. There are some really simple steps that will make it easy. Now, why is it so important to be able to do that? Well, again, that's easy. It's because we create our world, my friends, with our thoughts. Everybody knows that these days. So the more capable we are of sending happy, clear, uplifting thoughts, the happier our lives are going to be. Just that simple. I'm Sandy Anastasi, and I want to invite you to visit me on my website right here online. You'll find me at www.sandyanastasi.com. You can find out all about me and my many classes and my VIP membership area there. Thank you so much for coming by. I'll be back with another tip soon. Bye-bye.